So what? I wanna hang with my friends.
Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Andrew, and in this video we have a rare and one of the earliest models of ASUS Republic of Gamers, the ASUS G2 PC. I bought this laptop in a worse condition and with small hardware issues. The previous owner has told me that the laptop was in function before, but after a small accident, which is noticeable from one side, the laptop is a little bit curved. And after this, the laptop started having some problems. The CD-ROM has stopped working and it's been removed previously, and the laptop sometimes will turn on normally, but sometimes not. Also, except that I got this laptop without a CD-ROM, I got it without the charger. The seller decided to keep the charger from some other laptop. But no problem at all, I already have some chargers for these older models. After I got a laptop, I started with checking the hardware. I spent some time investigating the problem, and I found that the problem is coming from one of the RAMs and the hard disk. One RAM is damaged, and this is why often I got a black screen, and the laptop won't start. And the hard disk has causing freezing in the BIOS or in the boot menu screen. So after I removed the boot, I was able to access the BIOS and continue with testing. But I can't continue too much because the temperatures are skyrocketing. And I'm afraid of overheating, which can cause some serious damage, which can be a bigger problem because finding some parts for these machines is very hard. After I checked the laptop much as possible, I moved to disassembling. I'm going to open this laptop because of cleaning, to clean the dust, to change the thermal paste and the thermal pads, and to shine up the things a little bit more. And a few words about this model. The G2 series started to be available from late 2006 and early to mid 2007, and in a different configurations. The model that I'm working on is a G2 PC, which is coming with a mid to high specs from this series. But back in 2007, this model belongs to a very high-end series laptops. This model has an upgradable Core 2 Duo T7400 CPU. The GPU is non-upgradable ATI Radeon X1700 with 512 MB of video memory, and the maximum supported RAM is 4 GB in total. But also this laptop was equipped with 5 USB ports, audio ports, DVI and VGA port, DVD-ROM, and to top of that, there are 4 powerful Dolby Audio speakers for the maximum audio experience. The 17-inch glossy display with 1440x900 resolution and with vibrant and lively colors was something new on the market. Also on the laptop, there is a card reader, express card slot, and much more. So basically this laptop was one great enthusiastic configuration. I'm talking for the time when the Intel Core 2 Quad Q6600 was a top CPU. Also when Nvidia 8800 GT, I mean not GTX, only GT, was a high-end GPU. And when most of the computers have run a 32-bit version of Windows XP that maximum supports 3.25 GB of RAM. And as well, back in 2007, these enthusiastic configurations come with a price of about 1700 euros. Or in today's value, plus if I calculate the inflation rate, that's about 2050 euros, or about 2500 US dollars. So back then, for something like this, I can only dream of, because this was a very expensive machine. Well, the disassembling is complete, and now let's move to cleaning. And I start with cleaning the motherboard. On the motherboard, first I start with cleaning the CPU, the GPU and the chipset, and the memories from the GPU. To clean all these parts I used cotton buds, 96% isopropyl alcohol, 1 plastic spudger stick, and a soft brushes. After I clean the CPU and the GPU, I start with dusting off and cleaning the other components and the ports from around. And as final thing here, I changed the BIOS battery. The old battery isn't good, so the BIOS can't remember any settings after disconnecting the charger. Also, this is the same battery as in almost any desktop computer, or like in some other older laptops. And these batteries are actually easy and cheap to find. After I finished with cleaning the motherboard, I moved to cleaning the heatsink and the cooling fan. The thermal paste on the heatsink is too much dry, and here I had to use a scalpel to remove the paste. Also, at this point I have to be very careful to not cause some deep scratches, because deep scratches may affect the cooling later. However, this is a basic cleaning only. Later I'm going to make in-depth cleaning. The cooling fan is pretty dusty, but it's still working. But because of a lot of dust, it doesn't spin well as supposed to be. So here I have to separate the fan blades from the base part. So here I cross over a basic dusting off, and later I wash the base part using a 96% isopropyl alcohol. The next for cleaning is the keyboard. Here I start with shaking off the keyboard from the desk, so the gravity will help us to get rid of the major dirt, which is under the keys and harder to reach with a brush or any other tool. After this step, I move to clean the back side of the keyboard and basic dusting off using a soft brush. Later, I used a cotton buds and 96% isopropyl alcohol, and I cleaned each key separately from all sides around. This is a little bit longer process, but the end result is great. The keyboard looks fresh and much better, almost like a new one. Well, after I finish with the keyboard, I continue with cleaning all the cables and electronics from the laptop. And here I used soft brushes, cotton buds and 96% isopropyl alcohol. And the last thing which requires cleaning is the display. The entire top part of the laptop is pretty clean, except for the tiny dust that is collected through the years of use. But again, I cross over a detailed cleaning process and shining up all the things. After I finish with cleaning all the electronics, I move to cleaning the case and some other parts. The case that is without any electronics, I wash it using a dish soap and warm water. With washing, I remove even the tiniest dust. Also, for the heatsink, I used baking soda and vinegar. The combination of the both will return the copper shine and color to like a new. I know, these parts are from inside, and they aren't visible, but I really like when anything is looking great, no matter from the inside or outside. And as final thing, I cross over one more polishing and detail cleaning process. And as well, here I check all the electronics again, all the parts, and I fold back one of the metal holders, which was a little bit curved from before. Well, and now the laptop is ready for assembling. And now carefully I start assembling the laptop and returning everything in its own place. Well, when I'm about the RAM, I want to say, in this laptop I install a 2GB of RAM in total. This model can go up to 4GB, but currently I don't have some supported and good RAM, which will fit in this laptop. The next is the CPU, but here I won't make changes. I have a better CPUs like T9300s, T9550 and few similar. But these CPUs aren't supported. The maximum supported is T7600s, which isn't a big difference from T7400s. The next upgrade is, instead of using some regular hard disk, I will go with 240GB SSD. In this case, the SSD will make the laptop running much faster and better. 240 gigs isn't a large capacity, but for this laptop is going to be a perfect one. And the last thing is the CD-ROM. This CD-ROM isn't from this laptop or from the ASUS, but it's fitting well and it's working well. Isn't original, but it will do a great job. But yet, this is not all about this laptop. The top plastic has some scratches that are really poking my eyes. So I cross over one more polishing process. Here I used a car polish paste but for plastic. This is a very slow process, especially if you do it manually, and sometimes may take hours to finish. In my case, to finish this manually took about 2 hours. But however, the end result is much better than how the laptop case looks before. And again, as finished, I did one more shining up to remove the dust that I made while assembling and fingerprints. After I shine up the laptop, I continue with installing the Windows drivers, Also, I have done some customization, like setting a new wallpaper, doing some color change because of better aesthetics. Actually, I have done one personalization that will fit into the story, as well the laptop design and more. And after making all these changes, this is the final result. Well, now let's take a closer look. The Windows XP is a little bit outdated operating system, but on this laptop is running perfectly fine. Actually, this laptop is made for Windows XP. Installing drivers was not a problem, because all the drivers are still available on the ASUS website. So in general, everything is working just fine. The temperatures finally are normal, and I can use this laptop without worry of overheating. The battery in the laptop is still alive. The capacity isn't great, but under a normal usage, the battery can take about 25 to 30 minutes. And the part where I really enjoy is installing games using CDs. This took me back when a lot of games were available in a CD form. And as well, many games include some additional stuff, like some additional paperwork, merch, some posters, and all of that makes getting some new games more interesting and fun. The gaming on this machine is a different story. I cannot expect to play some new games, but for many older games, this laptop is just perfect. And the first game that I play is Red Alert 3. This is a strategy-based game. It's placed in the past around World War II, but in a different universe and reality. The game design and actions are different from the previous Red Alert 2. There are some new weapons and options, but in general, the gameplay is very similar. The game is about a classic battle, energy, resources, and building. The graphics are pretty live and vibrant. There are some changes, but I must say that I more like the previous Red Alert 2. Well, the next game on the list is Enter the Matrix. This game is inspired by the legendary movie The Matrix. The gameplay is full of action, but especially I like the acrobatic fight scenes or shooting in a slow motion, which is the same as in the movie. The game is also like a puzzle, but easy to solve and navigate through. In this game also are including some hacking features for those who want to explore, which is pretty cool thing. This feature in the game is presented similar to the MS-DOS, which is very similar as the Neo did in the first Matrix movie. The next game on the list is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 2. This is a well-known tactical shooter video game, and is probably very familiar to you. The gameplay is more focused on the cider side of the Las Vegas. It's about fighting the bad guys and more daytime missions. Personally, for me, this game is very fun to play, especially using a realistic mod, which can be pretty hard. The only downside of this game, I mean looking from my side, is the game story is too short. But however, this is a still great game and really fun to play. Well, the next game on the list is SWAT 4. So here the name tells almost everything. This game is full of different weapons, which mean you need to use a lot of commands on the keyboard. During the gameplay, pressing the wrong button or doing a wrong step will easily end the mission. You need to use a lot of tactics, remember details, and much more. But at the end, this is a very nice and very fun game to play. And the last game on the list is Duke Nukem Forever. This is a first-person action shooter game. Actually, it's more run-and-gun game about shooting, fighting aliens and other creatures to Earth and beyond. The gameplay is good, but many missions or things can be really hard to pass. Even you can stuck somewhere, which personally happens to me. The game graphics are good, even for today's standards. On this laptop, this game is running with a lower frame rate, but it's still playable. And this moment really took me back in time when the frame rate wasn't really important. The important thing was, the game is running. How? It doesn't matter. It's matter to play the game. Well, and this is all about this ASUS G2 PC laptop. It's an old laptop, but it still can provide a very great and enjoyable gameplay. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope this video will give ideas and inspiration to back some tech in a function again. Also, if you want to support my work and my channel, you can press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
So what, I wanna hang with my friends. So what, I wanna go out again. So what, I wanna write you a song. It's not my fault that you can't sing along. I try to keep it cool anyways. I try to stay away from mistakes. I'm making my way and I'm good on my own. Skipping the show cause it's all that I know. It goes like we're singing. It goes like I wanna hang with my friends.